So start of 2024, I realized that I'm going through a creative block. I did what any self-respecting creative would do, self-loathe. That too, but after that, I desperately researched for suggestions to get out of this funk. And today I'm going to share 3 powerful reframes that I have used to get past my creative block. Because I frankly think I've cracked it. It's day 45th of me creating consistently, and what I've learned works. It has actually become a guide you can use to thrive as a creative. And the story starts with me going on a beautiful hike. Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Srishti and I'm a communication designer. So let's get started. We've all experienced it, that hollow sensation of staring at a blank canvas or screen, unable to move forward, when all your creative ideas abandon you and you sort of find yourself in this creation drought. Creative block seems like this wall you're incessantly hitting against. I've been there. But what I've found, looking at a creative rut like that doesn't really help, and it actually leaves me struggling and stagnant for a longer period of time. Okay, back to the hike. Picture this. You're walking on a beautiful route on a forest hike, and suddenly you hit a giant broken tree log which blocks the whole path ahead. Would you keep walking in the same direction? No. Would you be like, this entire hike was a bad idea? No. Or would you think you are just a pathetic hiker? Absolutely not. I think I would just step back, look around, find a different route, and keep on the hike to get to the end point. Well, in a creative process, the mental rut that you're in is the tree log on the beautiful hike. And the best hack I found around it is to make a change in my route. I know it's easier said than done, because when we are in the middle of a creative process, the act of creating is a matter of identity for us. So when I'm in a rut, I find myself questioning my whole existence. If I am a designer and I cannot design, then who even am I? One simple mindset reframe that I have found really has helped me is looking at a creative block as a call to make a change, however small or big, just like you would do if you get lost on a hike. So instead of hitting against the same wall and obviously going nowhere, I find this visual of a door that I can actually open and walk through to be really helpful and profound. So make some change. Step away from your work, go for a nature walk, meditate, or sketch something unrelated to your project. Engage in activities that quiet your mind. This creates space in your brain to actually work on creative solutions in the background, aka your subconscious mind. And you'll often return to your project with fresh inspiration. There is science backing this. When we rest, particularly through activities like walking and meditating or engaging in a different art form, we activate the brain's default mode network, which forms new connections or new neural pathways in your brain that help spark creative solutions. There's this image about creativity as something magical or elusive. And frankly, as creatives, we like to maintain this. Because it's true. We do not know how did we finally get to the outcome that we get to. The work does take a life of its own. And I think more often than not, creative blocks happen because we are very vague about our creative goals. We confuse the art of creativity to the science of creativity. Because when it comes to starting a project, it is as mechanical, boring, and structural, frankly, as it is for a plumber to fix a new toilet seat. I've not heard a plumber ever say he's hit a creative block. Why is that? Isn't he making something? The only difference being he looks at it as a job and his eye is always on the end product, the tools he will need to get through it, and the steps he'd take to get the damn toilet running. So it's very simple. If you're starting fuzzy in your head, chances are you'll get fuzzy results. And the process would also keep changing because you do not have any idea what you're aiming at. So one rule of thumb to adhere to when you've hit a creative block is as soon as you start a project, get really specific about what you're trying to achieve. For example, for me as a brand designer, from saying that I'm going to design a modern, dynamic, fresh design, I say I'm designing a brand symbol for a lifestyle brand catering to 35-year-olds in Los Angeles. This not only helps me break down the whole project into smaller milestones, but also adds specificity to the process that I need to get there. A lot of time, the urge to create drives us into momentum, and we are tempted to go straight to the drawing board and start creating. Though this momentum hardly lasts and often leads us to another block. So once we have clearly defined a goal, it's imperative we have a clear process to get there. We all know how improbable it is to reach anywhere in this day and age without a Google map. So define a goal and pick a route. According to neuroscience, our brain craves clarity. This not only reduces overwhelm, but also engages the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain that is responsible for focus and problem solving. And thus, this is a huge help when we hit a creative block. Another major factor that tends to exaggerate creative blocks is when external expectations cloud our mind. It's always about, will the client approve this? Will my design meet industry standards? As creatives, we get overtly attached to the end outcome. And the fact that everybody's eyes is on the final product, the logo, the artwork, the website that we build doesn't seem to help. And the joy of creating is overtaken by this sense of anxiety. Instead of inducing play and innovation, creation becomes more of a chore. I don't like that. And I don't think that helps any creative to produce their best work. But in my opinion, there is another important component that we need to get through creative blocks. And that is to remember why you started to create in the first place. The joy of play. Whether you're sketching random sketches or mixing colors with no purpose, letting yourself experiment activates the reward system in your brain. This not only boosts creativity, but also lets you connect to the process rather than fixating on the end result. In fact, this is what Seth Godin, the marketing legend, had to say about the subject. When we say we have a writer's block, it's not the inability to write something. We all can write. No one has writing poorly block. And so it won't be wrong to say that it's a fight with perfectionism that cripples the creative process. The solution he offers is overcoming the block by writing poorly. Produce a large quantity of bad writing before claiming that you have a writer's block. As someone who has tried everything we've just talked about, this piece of advice has truly set me free. And I feel like I can create anything as long as I'm okay with bad quality and understand that it's about patience. By allowing myself to make bad art for every part of the process, my mind eventually loosens up and better work starts emerging. And I think for the longest time, I've looked at creativity the wrong way, as something that I do, or more of a production activity where I'm producing designs after design as a means to an end. Sometimes for client work, sometimes for an exhibition or social media. Some experience and many creative blocks. What I've realized is creativity starts way before any real production happens. It actually starts in our wandering minds, in our scribbled notes, and frankly in our silly observations. Creativity is the acceptance that we love making for the sake of making. Unlike art, has nothing to do with who is going to see it or understand it. And what has truly helped me shift an external outcome-based mindset to a more internal input-based mindset is the discipline to show up and create consistently. Even if the work feels uninspired or disjointed for a while, the act of creating itself can generate momentum. In fact, in this book, The War of Art and Win Your Inner Creative Battles, Steven Pressfield calls creative blocks resistance. And he says resistance will tell you anything to keep you from doing your work. And the gist that I got out of this book is channeling your creativity into creative work, good, bad, or ugly, is the only way you defeat resistance. I hope you can get back to creating. If you found this useful, please share this with one of your creative friends who would find this useful. Take lots of care, and I'll see you next week. Done!